Amendment 2, the majority of Floridians backing the fight for medical marijuana. It passed the 60% needed threshold easily tonight, receiving 70% of the vote. You can see every single county voting overwhelmingly for medical marijuana.
In Florida, we're asking if legalization of recreational pot could be next here.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Weed News at 420. I'm Lance Storm, and today is one of the biggest days in medical marijuana history in Florida. Here's a couple clips from Florida's medical marijuana legalization that you might have missed with all the election stuff going on.
Beach Dr. Robert Siegel is one of about 150 Florida physicians that can legally prescribe medical marijuana.
Marijuana is probably more effective in some people than the medications presently available.
Dr. Siegel was certified to prescribe medical marijuana earlier this year, but hasn't prescribed the drug to any patients yet.
In order to get medical marijuana in Florida as of now, you have to be terminal. Death has to be expected within a year. So with the amendment, there won't be those restrictions.
But now that a new law expanding the number of illnesses that can be legally treated with marijuana was passed, Siegel expects to treat patients with the drug next year.
It will make it a lot easier for people who really need help to get it. I've seen people in the last few days who had Parkinson's, who were illegally using it and lamented the fact that they had to violate the law in order to get help.
Dr. Siegel says the changes will give some patients currently taking addictive narcotics and painkillers for debilitating conditions an alternative form of treatment.
There are people who end up taking a lot of narcotics for cancer pain that won't have to do that if they can control it with marijuana.
This is a safer alternative for them.
The new law is good news for patients like Lauren Drake, who was addicted to prescription drugs while battling a debilitating illness for years.
There's going to be so many people with so many different illnesses that are going to have such a greater quality of life.
In this next clip, this guy asks the question everybody wants to know. Are they going to go recreational next, and if so, how soon?
In Florida, we're asking if legalization of recreational pot could be next here. Channel 9's Carla Ray spoke with supporter John Morgan. And Carla, 4 other states which already had medical marijuana made the jump to full legalization last night during the election.
Of course, this is still a very early conversation for Florida. Dispensaries like the one that will be built here won't be open for at least another year or so, but opponents of medical marijuana say they're aware of a push already for recreational use, and supporters say it could happen. With more than 70% of Floridians voting in favor of medical marijuana, we joined 28 other states where some form of weed is legal. And less than 24 hours after the polls closed, the conversation is already shifting to recreational use.
It will be legal in Florida. I think it'll be sooner rather than later.
Attorney John Morgan, who spent more than $8 million of his own money to push medical marijuana, says he won't do the same for full legalization, but it may not matter. Last night, California, Nevada, Maine, and Massachusetts, which all had laws on the books for medical marijuana, approved recreational pot, following in the footsteps of Colorado, Washington State, Alaska, Oregon, and Washington, D.C.
California legalized marijuana last night. That was a huge deal. 55 million people marijuana is now legal for, but I don't think it could be overstated how big of a deal what we did here in Florida last night was.
The win here is said to be the largest margin for any marijuana policy in the U.S., but some are skeptical about whether our traditionally conservative state is willing to allow weed in all forms. Arizona, also known for its strong Republican base, voted down a recreational measure last night.
There will definitely be continued opposition to that because we as professionals in this field know that is not the way to go.
Now, just implementing the rules for medical marijuana will take some time. Like I mentioned, it could be at least a year before people who want to use medical marijuana can actually do so.
Marijuana use is becoming more acceptable in some parts of the U.S. Voters in Arkansas, Montana, and North Dakota also passed medical marijuana initiatives. Recreational marijuana was approved by voters in California, Maine, Massachusetts, and Nevada. Medical marijuana is already legal in 25 other states.
If you ask me, the big winner in 2016's election was definitely marijuana. If you like this video and you want to see others like it, it'll be in the playlist News for Stoners, amongst other playlists. We really appreciate you hanging out with us and celebrating Florida's legalization on medical marijuana, and hope that you hang out with us and check out many of my other videos. I'm Lance Storm, and this is Weed News at 420. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and share us with your friends. Stay beautiful, people.